This is Steve Ridgel, and actually it's Lulu's up here with me today, and Rim's down here. So if her head pops up, she likes to be in here for some of these. Well, last video I shared with you a little bit about Myra and Vanessa and how they were born again. Myra really converted by a church that embraced her. Vanessa really led to Jesus by a young adult group that welcomed her. And so one of the things that early when they started coming to Hillcrest that Myra did, she got pulled some of us apart or aside during our prayer time at the end of service and asked us to start praying for her son Daniel. Um, Daniel has been incarcerated most of his adult life. He's 4 different times, and he's open with this story, and he wants to share this story with people so they'll see the power of Jesus. And so he was incarcerated, and we were praying for him. And she was asking us not to pray for him to get out. She was asking us to pray that he'd find Jesus. Well, what she didn't really know during a lot of that time is his last time in prison, he thought he was going for a long stretch of time. And due to some different things, he was going to get released much earlier than he thought. And he attributed that to God watching out for him because he finally, in his jail cell, decided the life he was living was not going to work. He wasn't going to be able to fix it on his own. That he needed someone bigger, better, that could handle his life. And he decided that was Jesus. He began to read his Bible. He began to encourage other inmates to pray together and to read their Bible. And he got out of prison hungry to find Jesus. Came, of course, to church with Myra and Vanessa right off. We met him, of course, welcomed him, prayed with him. He got involved in our secret class that Nathan teaches, came to the Jesus Journey class on Wednesday night that I teach and Nathan is in. We did that, Nathan, our preacher, and me. He got involved in that. I asked him one time, I said, Daniel, would you like to talk a little bit about your Jesus journey? And he said, I would love to, because he said, I want Jesus. I know Jesus can fix my life. And so we visited some about Jesus, about what it looked like to follow Jesus. And then we began to talk about being born again and what that meant. And so then he is the one actually that decided he wanted to be baptized. And he went home and told his sister Vanessa and his mom Myra. And that's when Myra said, you know what, I want to do that too. And then Vanessa said, I think I do too. And so Jack Hardcastle, one of our other ministers, and I met with the whole group. We talked about Jesus and what it means to be born again and how Satan will come after you when you decide to follow Jesus, but that God would have great things for them to do in this world for the kingdom. And so a couple of Thursdays afternoons ago, we baptized all 3 of them. And I loved all their confessions. But Daniel's, he talked about, he said, Jesus was raised from the dead. And I'm going to be raised from a dead life, and I want to be born again. And he really was passionate to follow Jesus. And so it was sweet to what we baptized Daniel first, and then he helped baptize his mom and his sister into Christ. You never know who God's going to bring to your door looking for Jesus. And so I love Myra, Vanessa, and Daniel and what God has done. They're great redemption stories, and I look forward to what God will do in them and through them over the next few years.